So it seems to me, or it strikes me, that there's an inevitability because of the fact that we're human and it's the way our minds work. You often refer to, just stand back and watch the mind go. Don't control it. It without your mind does what it does without your bidding, without asking for permission, or that is a reality, in fact, of human physiology. And it seems to me that it is our nature to get caught up and dragged in and then experience suffering, where it's an inevitable struggle.
So it's not the thoughts that are the problem, it's our identification with the thoughts. We can have all kinds of thoughts, lots and lots of thoughts. Especially if we're planning something, or and a lot of useful thoughts that are quite necessary to live, to function in the world. Of course, we need all that, and maybe even the mind might even produce some, papancha type thoughts. But if we don't identify with them, then they really don't have no juice. Think about it. If a thought comes up, oh, so-and-so looked at me this way, they must be mad at me, what did I do? Then you just go, oh, there's a thought, there it goes. That's it, it's over. But if you have that thought and go, you identify with it, attach to it, and go, oh, I better really think about this and worry about it, or worrying just starts. You never consciously, I don't think, or very rarely worry. It just happens. So it's not the thoughts themselves, and we're definitely not. It's not. Beginner's mind doesn't mean that we don't know anything. It's identification with the mind that causes the suffering. It's really the identification with it. Can we realize that thoughts simply arise all on their own without our consent, arise and pass away because it's interconnected with everything else? So you can't stop them, right? You can't stop the world. If you could stop the world because everything's interconnected, you'd have to stop everything. Then you could stop your thoughts. But you can't stop the world, the cosmos, never mind the world. We think of the world as being Earth, but I'm talking about the cosmos, the universe, and the stars beyond that. And it's all interconnected. So you'd have to stop all movement. You can't. So all you can do is kind of watch and go, oh, isn't that interesting? You don't know where it even came from, but it just arises based on so many different causes and conditions that we can't possibly fathom what they are. So it's identification. So it's this, we identify with our thoughts because we misperceive the nature of them. We think they're ours. Those are my thoughts. I gotta believe them, act on them, follow them. So, and what happens is, as thoughts are no longer entertained, they lose. Well, first they lose their juice, and then they just lose their. They don't really come up as much. It's kind of like you're not entertaining them anymore. I don't know where they go, but they just don't seem to come up at the same frequency. And you'll see as you practice that there's a gradual diminishment in the busy mind and the mind chatter. You'll see it if you sit and meditate for even 30 minutes in the morning. You may be having your coffee and noticing the mind's churning away. Just go meditate for 30 minutes. Just spend 30 minutes with still, silent presence. And thoughts you'll notice, oh, there's fewer thoughts. There just are. So the more time you dwell in that, in your true nature, in your essential nature, the less and less busy the mind becomes all on its own. It's just cause and effect. That's just what happens. It's nothing you did, it's just what happens. I guess you could say you meditated, but...
It almost sounds like there's an inevitability to the human condition that we identify with our thoughts and got caught up in them. And that's why the Buddha came along to say, I want to help people. I want to help the human being with this inevitability. This
Yeah.
We all fall into this trap, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, the Buddha, after he was, enlightened, sitting under the Bodhi tree there and became enlightened, he sat there, I forget how many days, like 6, it's a long time, contemplating whether he would teach this. He really didn't think anybody would understand what he was talking about. And then he said, in the world, there are people with little dust in their eyes that may see this. So he didn't have any big, grandiose idea that this was going to sweep through India, northern India at the time. But just a few people with little dust in their eyes that would see this. Of course, I had no idea that people would still be talking about 2,500 years later what he had to say. But yeah, I think. The notion of inevitability, nothing's really inevitable in that sense. You could say the only thing that's inevitable is that we will all become conscious of our true nature. All as in, the death, the undying, infinite beings that we are part of. That this will, inevitably, consciousness will become completely conscious of itself, of all manifestation, and we'll go back to those kind of the innocence